just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar, a special episode, the selection table. Hopefully, you know what? I'm thinking we might do this each year, where we sit down and we select our Origin Game 1 sides. Also, we'll add in the squad later. So we've got the big fella Sandor here. We've got Guru here, Matty here. And also, don't forget, on Monday, 6 p.m, this shirt, Shandor's wearing the jumper as well. That's dropping. This is dropping. So each year, obviously, we do our winter drop. This is our winter drop, guys. We've got hoodies. We've got these hoodies, this shirt. We've got the blue hoodie there. We've got the shorts as well. And these shorts, these are unbelievably comfy in the blue shorts here. There's very limited number, guys. Monday, 6 p.m. So we got the hoodies, the shirts, and the shorts all dropping Monday, 6 p.m. Set your alarms. Very limited numbers, guys. But let's get into it, shall we? The selection table, it's time for us to select, and we will be talking as if we are selecting the Origin side. Start for New South Wales, boys. We're going to start at fullback. Reasonable eligible people at fullback for us, boys. James Tedesco at fullback. Latrell Mitchell can play fullback. Dylan Edwards, Will Kennedy, Ryan Pappenhausen, Scotty Drinkwater. Boys, what are we thinking? And I guess, first of all, we have to lay out what kind of fullback do we want? What kind of footy do we want to play? What do we need at the back? I personally think it's between two options. Mm-hmm. We either need a meter reader, great in contact, gets through their work, basically does exactly what the 7 tells them to do, or the 6 or whatever, or we need a guy at the back that may not get through as many meters but puts points on for us and is essentially, because we're without Cleary, we've had so many injuries in the halves, we have a fullback that can also put on points and have a lot of try assists. What do we reckon?
I've gone for Dylan Edwards. And I sat here a couple of weeks ago, you guys, and I was sort of leaning towards Teddy a few weeks ago. Now that I'm here, and I've sort of picked my team, but also the team that I think Madge will pick, and I think Madge is going to make a bold decision here, and I think he will go Edwards.
Don't worry about Madge Guru, mate. This is our table.
This is our team, mate. This is our team. So just select exactly the team you would go for.
Yeah, I just think the last few years, Teddy hasn't been at his best for New South Wales. He's had a better season for the Sydney Roosters. There's no denying that. But, mate, the form that Edwards is in at the moment, I just can't leave him out. And the work he does coming out of his own end, and that's a real theme in my team, Dylan Edwards has to be the guy for me.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm pretty strong on this one, bro. Like, it's always been that decision. Can we go through Teddy, the captain? What's it going to look like? What do we need? I just think we're at a point, we'll touch on our halves later, but I would love to see this series have them be the star of the show, take control. And, you know, we're going to talk about guys like Nicho Hynes. I just don't know if they will be able to be the dominant force that they need to be with Teddy at the back. And he is the GOAT. He's a gun. What he's contributed is massive. You can't take that away. But I think for what he has, Dylan Edwards has those attributes. But I think we just need to make a shift and try and play some football where other people can stand up in a dominant position, because, like it or not, Teddy is dominant, and that, I think, impacts other areas and other players within that team. So it's strong words, and it's hard to overthrow a gun player, but I'm more trying to allude to the fact that I think we take a shift in a different direction and see what that does for other players around him. And obviously Dylan Edwards, he's no slump. Like, he's going to come in and contribute massively.
What about the question of, yes, the last couple of years he hasn't been at his best. He also hasn't been bad. But he also, out of everyone that could potentially get selected right now, considering that, you know, Trell is, we're just going to work under the assumption that he's not available. He's the only guy that has absolutely killed Origin. Yeah. So out of every selection we're about to make, he's the only one that has proven on the Origin level that he is as good or as better than a lot of those Queensland players.
Which is what makes this so difficult. Yeah. So difficult.
My choice isn't even about him. It's more so about how it impacts the rest of the team, to be honest, because Teddy's going to have a good game. He's going to add value.
Yeah. And you know what? I think we've all been frustrated by Teddy at points over the last 2 years that it's almost like he's trying to do too much. And as much as at times I've seen that improve, doing a little bit less, I'm at the point now with Teddy, I'm not sure if I can trust that he's not going to overdo it. He has done it quite consistently, and I think
with good intentions.
With great intentions, 100%.
It's what makes him great.
It's what makes him great, and it's what made him great for so long. But I think, to Dor's point as well, and I think we're talking about the same guy, who my halfback has forced my hand on a lot of decisions.
Okay, so just before we move on from the fullback, what about Scotty Drinkwater? Yes, defensively, a lot of questions. But there's an argument to be made. If there's one guy that can out Reece Walsh, it's Scotty Drinkwater.
No denying that, but I go back to your first point defensively. I just can't trust him there.
I like the X factor, but when you sit down on the table and you've got to, like we are, the selectors, and you've got to make a choice, that's a bold move.
It's a bold move.
Not one I'm willing to make.
I think we got enough. We'll get to the new position, the rest of the positions, but in my team anyway, that's enough X factor out wide. I think we need someone extremely safe, and that brings it down to Teddy and Edwards for me. If Turbo was available, his absolute freakishness would have put him in the team, but because it's out of those two now, I think Edwards actually does get through more work probably, but you're right. Like it seems more valuable work to what the team needs, and for me, that's why I'm picking Dylan Edwards.
Okay. Look, I just think that, it's Edwards' time. Sometimes it's about time.
Yep.
Because I think we can all agree Teddy would probably have a good game.
Yep. Agreed.
And they could probably win the series
Yep.
with Teddy or Edwards. But sometimes I just feel like with Dylan Edwards, he's leading the Dally M. We have to take into consideration that we, New South Wales, have lost the last two series.
Yeah.
And he has been our captain. And even though he's also the greatest ever fullback for New South Wales, and he deserves all the respect that's possible that you can give a bloke in the Origin jersey, at the end of the day, he's been captain for back-to-back losses. And I think that Edwards, on the other hand, yes, has he proved himself in Origin arena? No, he hasn't. But he's been the fullback for 3 premierships in a row, 4 grand finals in a row. So he's got the runs on the board in big games.
He's got the resume.
He's got the resume. He's got the ticker. He's a little bit younger. He's a little bit less banged up. I mean, I know he's pretty banged up because he's such a tough footy player. I think that it's actually not about the fact that he may play better than Tedesco Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more about the fact that he probably suits the halves that we're going to put in more than Tedesco right now. Now, the positive is, though, if Edwards goes down, Tedesco absolutely would just slot straight in. I think also it might be worth bringing Tedesco into camp.
Have to.
Because of the knowledge he's going to depart and give to guys like Edwards and the outside backs.
That's a good point. In 2019, so Jimmy Maloney was the 5'8" in 2018. They dropped him for game 1 2019, and everyone thought it was the right decision. Kind of like how we're talking about Edwards right now. We lost game 1. New South Wales lost game 1. James Maloney comes in game 2. They win. He's one of the best players in the series. There's every chance that could happen again.
That absolutely could happen. Now, I guess the only question about bringing him into camp is like you'd have to sit down with him, and I'm sure like Teddy, he gets it. He's a legend of the game, but be like, you're not actually coming into camp as captain anymore. You're coming into camp as an old boy, like not an old boy. You're still playing, you're still a gun, talking like he's retired. But you're coming into camp to obviously, if Edwards goes down, you're in 100%. But you're coming into camp to help the state be the best versions of themselves when they step across that white line. And I think it's important. I think it's important that he's a part of the camp because we may need him as well. And if you don't bring him into camp, you don't make him a part of it. What happens in game 2 when you need him? Is the same Teddy going to rock up that's rocked up in the past, or is it going to be a Teddy that's like, mate, I was captain of the state, I'm still playing good footy, and I can't even make the squad now?
Yeah,
I agree with the sentiment, but
it's a tough.
Would that be a weird situation for Teddy?
Yes, it would, but
I think you put the state first.
Yeah,
I think Teddy would put the state first.
It'd be a beautiful moment for him to, like, in terms of leadership and how that reflects on everyone else. For him to rock up to the camp with a good attitude and add value to the players would be such a great reflection of the person and the team. I think it would speak volumes if he could do it, like you said.
I hated it when you first said it. The more you spoke, the more I came around to it.
Well, leadership is more than just about being the guy on the field that everyone gets to praise. Leadership's about putting the state first. And I think Teddy would absolutely do that. I think he absolutely would put his ego aside and go, yeah, 100%. Like, I'm ready. If you need me, I'm in. And if he's not, you have that conversation before. And if he says, look, I'm not comfortable. I'm a former captain and I feel like I should be there and I'm a bit miffed about that. Then you go, that's fine. It's sweet, man. Totally get it. We'll keep this between you and me. And I just won't bring him to camp. Obviously, you have the conversation with him. We have the conversation with him first. But I do think he's important because when we go through this squad, it's actually a really inexperienced Origin squad. And that is going to be key going into the game.
Can I ask you this? If you're leaving Teddy out of your side, you need a new captain. Cleary's out, Cam Murray's out. Have you got someone else in
Well, I
mind?
think we'll get to it when we further down in the line, but
It's a good
it's a
point.
tough one. It's a good question.
Could that play a role in Madge's decision potentially if they are?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely could.
Because origin-wise, without knowing what you guys are picking, you're coming in with a very inexperienced spine everywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll get to that more towards the end as we go through everything. But it will play a part.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe when it comes to the selection, you have to ask the question, like the origin experience matters.
Yeah.
Origin experience matters. So we're going with Edwards. Okay, on the wings, eligible wings. We've got the Fox, we've got Lomax, Tupou, Suoli'i, To'o, Kiraz, Katoa, Garrick, Taruva. Now, boys, I think we all agree To'o's locked in. And he was one of the first locked in. We didn't even need to have the conversation. Locked in. Now, the other wing is the question.
What a time to be alive. We're one of the first players locked in as a winger, mate.
Crazy
times.
crazy.
Crazy times.
Crazy.
Representing all us wingers to the fullest. Now, obviously, it's the other wing that's the question. Me personally, I don't want to hear nothing about players switching. I don't give a shit what players are doing. I'm trying to pick the best 17 to get us to lift the trophy at the end of the series. For me personally, I think that he's another guy that we should bring into camp, but I'm not going to select him, is Fox. I think Fox needs to be in the camp, but I'm not going to select him. I think the unlucky guy is Zach Lomax. For me personally, I'm putting Suoli'i on the wing. I think he's an absolute superstar. I think as long as there's a few errors in his game he needs to sort, he's an attacking weapon. His meterage is like second to none. And coming out of his own end, him and To'o, that's a scary, scary prospect. So we'll be starting our sets off with Edwards, To'o, and Suoli'i, arguably the best three ball runners in the NRL. Thoughts?
I'll tell you what, this is so important. Firstly, I've never liked the fact that with these two gun wingers, I love Adokar, I love To'o, they would be my choices, but someone's got to play out of position. And we can say that's not a big factor, but, it is in terms of where they play on the field. The other thing is we've got to factor in that, like, who's going to be our wingers for Queensland potentially? Well, they ain't going to be short, right? There's a strong game there. So I've actually half flipped a little bit. I would love to see Adokar and To'o because I just love them and I love them in the side, but Suoli'i makes a lot of sense.
Well, you can put Suoli'i on Coates.
A lot of sense. Do you need to? I think it's not even a question. I think you actually need to.
Yeah. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I didn't have Fox sort of in my considerations. It came down to two guys. It was Suoli'i and I think Zach Lomax. I ended up going with Lomax, to be honest with you. I just think at the moment he's got the hot hand. He's playing great footy, great in the air. Love him coming out of his own end. And I probably lean into more so that Lomax, I know he's going to be there for the next few years. Suoli'i obviously going to Union and whatnot. And I understand the sentiment of let's win the series now, pick the best possible players now. But I personally don't think Lomax is far off that in the form that he's playing.
I've gone Fox. I think he's been there, he's done it. I think just his raw speed is something that's unmatched with any other winger that we could possibly pick. I wouldn't be upset with Suoli'i at all, but he's playing pretty good. Like, he's playing good. I just think Fox has played like 9 or 12 Origins or something. He didn't have the best series last year, but he's tried and tested, and he's playing good enough for the Doggies now.
Do we all agree that at the very least Fox should be in the squad because of what he brings off the field?
100%.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Even just like I remember we went down to Coogee last year and watched them train, and just the energy that he brings to a camp is just unmatched. And it was the year before he wasn't in it. And what we spoke it on there on the show, that not having him as a person in there, it impacted the Blues for sure. You could see it on social media, if not anywhere else. So I like that,
Okay, so two of us saying Suoli'i, Lomax, Fox.
Yeah.
Lomax
Lomax is like, if I had a longer, more than just the last 8 games.
Agreed.
I could get him in there.
Agreed.
But the only thing that really hurt me for Lomax is, and he's had an incredible year, I'm such a fan of Lomax, that big game against the Roosters where he tried a little bit too hard, he had a lot of errors. That's when I was like, if that happens in Origin, that's like, we can't carry that. Now, not to say that will happen, but it was the biggest game of the year and it was the worst game he's had this season.
I just love the way that Lomax has gone after the footy this year. He has floating around the field. He is so keen to get involved in everything he possibly can. I get what you're saying with that. Roosters game was far from his best, but mate, I just think he's earned the jersey this year, and he's going to be there into the future. So I'm happy to go with him.
Just one last thing. Fox has played 15 Origins. Suoli'i's played about 30 NRL games on the wing. Lomax has played about 10 NRL games on the wing. I just think that experience just wins it for me.
Yeah, okay, so the majority, though, it's Suoli'i. Majority, myself. So we're going to go Suoli'i. Next up, though, do we all, or you say Fox, I think we all agree probably for us, Lomax is the next up? Or is Fox the next up?
Fox is next up for me, 100%.
For
I'd
me-
be happy to go with Fox, and then if the game one is just a disaster and Xavier Coates is just jumping on people's heads, then we make a different decision. But otherwise, yeah, I reckon he's got to be there.
I'd go Lomax is, if Suoli'i or To'o go down, Lomax is next up for me at the moment. But Fox is absolutely in my camp, all camp, because of what he brings and also the experience that he can give these young fellas coming through. All right, so majority decision wins. It's Suoli'i to start and To'o, obviously. Now, the centres, we are working under the assumption that Latrell Mitchell is not available. I think the fact that there's even questions whether he is or he isn't probably would suggest that he isn't.
Yep.
Now, this is a tough one. Bradman Best goes down with a hamstring. He would probably be in a lot of ours.
He would have been my left centre,
Yep.
We've got Tungo, who started the year really well, been a little bit quiet defensively, also some issues recently. For me personally, I think we all agree Critter is locked into one centre.
Yep.
Yes, agreed.
I would like to put forward, potentially, Critter as a potential captain if Teddy isn't in the side.
Ooh. I had not thought of that, but I like it.
So I'm just putting it forward, marinate on it. We can come back to it later. Okay, my other centre that I think, when we talk about, like, for example, Lomax, he's had a real, incredible year, one of the best years of an outside back. This player hasn't had as big of a year, but I feel like he's been playing consistently high-quality footy for at least 3 to 4 years, maybe even longer. My other centre is Jesse Ramian.
That's what I had.
You had Ramian?
Yep.
This is the one that I'm split on, Burton or Ramian.
I'm with Guru. I'm all night I've been tossing between Burton and Ramian. If Ramian played on the left for the Sharks, I'd make it.
We know Critter can play both.
Yeah, that is true. So yeah, Burton and Ramian is a tough one. I was leaning towards Burton, but I would love Ramian in the Origin team.
Burton was the name I wrote down first for left centre.
Okay. Now, is it a concern that he hasn't played centre for quite a while?
Definitely.
100%.
Ramian, a genuine specialist centre. All the reads, knowing when to come in, the contact, everything. It's a different ball game.
Yeah.
Is that a concern?
It's definitely a concern. Like, he hasn't played centre since he was at Penrith.
If they were to go one-on-one, who would you back in a game?
Definitely Ramian. No, you know what? I've changed. This is why we're at a selection table.
And let's not discredit who's on the other side of our centres as well. I would just like to unleash a Ramian on the Queensland centres and just see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm Ramian now.
I question both of them, to be fair. So this spot will be marking up against Hamiso, will it?
We'll
Val's
get
been
to the
playing left
Queens.
centre, but I think that's got to be a big...
I mean, Hamiso played on the left last year, but I don't know.
Let's assume he's playing either Hamiso or Holmes. Look, he's played Holmes at a club, and I've never seen Holmes bath him.
Nah.
And tell me someone's bathed Ramian.
Ramian pretty much bathed Critter at the start of the year.
Yeah.
Like, he can go one-on-one with anyone.
He's physical, he's strong, we saw on the weekend that footwork, he's got the flick pass. I'm going Ramian.
Yeah, I'm happy to put the line through.
I'm backing you. I'm going Ramian.
I'm sticking with Burton.
You're sticking with Burton. All right, majority wins. We're putting in Ramian and Critter.
Oof.
Okay,
Let's go.
Here goes the hardest position. At 6, eligible 5'8". Burton, Walker, Luai, Strange, Brooks, Keary. Now, I've looked at the stats and I've looked at where is an area that is really important in Origin. Where is an area we, as New South Wales, have been totally dominated for probably 2 years at the moment. It's our long kicking game. I think our long kicking game, the DCE long kicking game, has just completely torn us apart. Yes, Cleary's got a fantastic kicking game, but he's been in and out of Origin with a couple injuries as well. And I think that DCE's long kicking game, not necessarily his mid to short range, has just been a real difference in the contest. This is why, for me personally, mix that in with the tackle efficiency, and Burton is one of the best tackle efficient sixes in the game with the kicking. He just pips Cody Walker for me at 6. Thoughts? Who have you got at 6?
Well, I've already got Matty Burton at centre, but if Mitch Moses is unavailable, which we're assuming he is, right?
Let's assume he is, yeah.
I think it has to be Cody Walker. I think Origin is just so fast, and you only get a finite amount of opportunities. You have to take them in that instant. I just think Cody Walker, the instincts he's got and the way he plays his footy, especially able to play on the left side with my halfback being more right side dominant, I'd be more than happy to take Cody Walker there.
Are we looking at a Critter and Toto on the left?
I would say if Raymond's our centre, I think they'd put him on the right. Yeah. So you'd put Toto and Raymond on the left.
Yeah.
Sorry, Critter on the left.
Originally, I was just going to say stick with Luai and bring the boys back together.
Yeah.
Okay.
He played good on the weekend, Luai.
Yeah.
He killed it.
And defensively, you've got that. They've worked with each other before. That's a fucking great point.
That was where my head was at.
Yeah.
But I don't mind. If we're gonna talk about jumping on the bandwagon as a group, I'm probably leaning towards Burton.
Just on Luai, I just think he's had enough goes in Origin, I reckon. I think Walker.
Yeah, but to be fair, his first Origin, he was incredible.
He was. He was very good.
Margin. So he's had 2 Origin series, essentially?
3 or 2. Yeah. Yeah, 2.5.
1 good, 1 average, and 1. So, yeah.
I think it's very important, the kicking game that you mentioned, very important.
And I just think Burton's big boot.
Yes.
Like, it adds another option, another concern.
I think it could be a huge factor, especially who we're all potentially looking at for the other position, which is the 7. I think it makes sense.
Nico Hines is a good medium to short range kicking game, not as big.
And it's not something I really want him focusing on, to be honest.
Okay, so I'm going Burton, you're going Burton, you're going Walker.
I'm going Cody as well.
You're going Walker.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, no surprises there, Matty.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, we're at a deadlock here. We'll have to circle back to this one.
I mean, if it helps your cause, I'm only going Walker there because Burton's at centre for me.
And I'm more than happy with Burton. Like, I agree with that kicking
Beautiful.
game.
That sounds like we wrap that one up.
Sounds like Burton. Sounds like Burton.
On the boot.
I'll tell you what, though, it's genuinely one position, though. If we come out of game 1 and we had plenty of field position and we didn't have the strike power to score, it'll be a decision we regret, because we all agree here, when it comes to good ball, he's probably the best 6 in the competition.
100%.
And it's probably not even close.
Like, the Souths are so bad right now, and he's still setting up tries, scoring tries.
I think he's still, when it comes to like try assists and that, as a 6, he's one of the better ones in the competition.
It's insane. And let's not forget how well he played last year.
I think he's that one guy too. He's out of this entire squad, he's the hardest to prepare for. Cody.
If Dylan Edwards gets in there as well, that's again another secondary argument for the Luai position.
Yeah, for the Luai combination.
True.
All right, we'll go Burton. Also, the utility, I guess, of Burton helps to a degree.
Yeah.
Like, if something crazy happens, he can play anywhere in the back line.
I just want Burton there somewhere.
Yeah.
I want him in my 17.
Okay. So we're by literally a hair going to go Burton.
Yeah.
But Walker is like a breath away. At 7, I think it's pretty much locked in. We all agree Nico Hines at 7.
It's time.
It's time. Got to be.
I'm excited.
It's got to be Hines. And also, you say to Hines, mate, it is your team.
Let's go.
And you tell every single person around Hines, whatever he says, you do. It's no one else's team. No one else like overcall or anything like that. Obviously, you have an overcall call when you see something, but this is Nico Hines' team.
Yeah, do your thing.
Okay. In the front row, I think we all agree one front row has to be Payne Haas.
1,000%.
Locked in to start.
No doubt.
Okay. I'm going to let you guys say your other front row.
I'll go first.
I'll tell you what I've decided. I've gone through the stats and I've looked at what we would be replacing, what we'd be bringing in, what do we need from this person, and I'll tell you why I've gone this person.
My other front rower is Mitch Barnett.
Okay, why is that?
Firstly, he's in form. He's starts in the front row for the Warriors, so that's another thing. Him and he stands next to AFB every single week, and AFB has the most ridiculous stats in the comp besides Payne Haas, and basically he'll be going into a new combination with AFB / Payne Haas. Like, it's just that AFB and Barnett at the Warriors is just so good. I just think it'll be the same. Haas, Barnett. He's also extremely versatile. We can go to the back row if he needs to. Not that the Blues need any more back rollers, but yeah, I just think he's been killing it. It's his time.
You've come prepared with that one, Matty, which I appreciate.
Thank you.
Guru.
Mate, I have gone with Gerbo in the front row. Start with Payne Haas. Defensively, one of the best in the competition. I just think in a side that has a lot of guys that are out and a lot of guys that I'm going to leave out that have a lot of experience, I think Gerbo just has to pick himself there. And I think as a state and myself as well, we've made the mistake of leaving him out before, and I won't be making it this year.
I like it.
Sandor.
I've gone the big junior.
Junior Polo.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, what you thinking?
Oh, I just think when I look across the board, I mean, Matty swayed me with that very convincing conversation, which I loved. I love the AFB chat as well, but I just think impact, experience, and I go through the rest of them, and there's a couple that I'm thinking for my bench, but it just felt like the right option. But again, Guru makes a good point as well with Wojovic, so a bit on the fence there, but that was my choice.
Okay, Roo. You have Jake Trbojevic because of his defence. The fact that he's experienced, a big game experience. This is who I'm going in the front row. And just hear me out. Isaiah Yeo. Because you selected Jake Trbojevic with his defence. Guess who has the best tackle efficiency in the competition as we speak? Isaiah Yeo. He's the best defender in the competition. He doubles Jake Trbojevic when it comes to metres made. He's also currently got the 6th most post-contact metres in the competition for front rowers, if you were to put them all together. So when we're talking about can he do what a front rower does, he absolutely can. Can he play 80 minutes in the middle? He absolutely can. Also, it takes away the worry of him playing 13 and getting in the way of Hines. On top of that, he can play a very similar role that Paddy Carrigan plays at club to Payne Haas. The little tip-ons, running in pairs. He's got probably the best motor, one of the best motors in the competition. I think Isaiah Yeo at front, knowing that he can play 80 in the middle and play it extremely well, knowing that he's been in 4 grand finals, won 3 of them, he's played Origin. I think that he's basically this next generation of Jake Trbojevic. And why I say that is because I actually had Jake Trbojevic in my side initially. And I thought, what am I trying to get out of Jake Trbojevic? I'm trying to get incredible defence. Well, statistically, Isaiah Yeo is a better defender. I think it solved a lot of problems as well by putting him at 10. I personally, then you've got Haas and Yeo that at a pinch could play 70 minutes in the front row together. I think that he's made for Origin in the front row.
It solves the biggest concern with my team. And as I said, I've picked a side that suits Hines.
Yeah.
And I really worry about the Yeo-Hines combination.
Yep.
That's my biggest concern by far and away. So I actually don't mind it. Are you still finding a spot for Gerbo?
Not at this stage. Because the way I'm seeing it is Yeo can be that version of Gerbo, but better, statistically better at this stage. He's got, so for example, Yeo, he's made 372 tackles. He's only missed 6. He's got a 98.4% tackle efficiency. Jake Trbojevic, 464, and he's missed 24, and he's got a 95.08% tackle efficiency. Yeo has 160 run metres per game. Jake Trbojevic has 80 run metres per game. And obviously, Isaiah Yeo's post-contact are substantial.
That's the big one. Obviously, Yeo doesn't miss tackles. Jake probably a better defender in terms of he can snap people, but with the ball in hand, it's night and day between those two.
And so I just think that Isaiah Yeo can offer everything that Gerbo does, outside of obviously the Origin experience of Gerbo. He's a captain. He's been leading Penrith whilst they've been playing flat and still getting it. He's one of the best. He's in the top whatever for the Dally M's. I just think he can offer everything that Jake Trbojevic can offer. He's been a leader of this Penrith Panthers 3-time premiership side, and I think that 10 is where he can lead from.
I would pick Yeo over Jake Trbojevic in the front row based off those arguments that you just presented. I still would have someone like Barnett or Junior Bolo.
No, we're not going
starting.
to get to the bench. Oh, starting.
No, starting.
Yeah. Over Haas.
No, Haas and
Okay.
another one of those guys.
Yep.
But it's a very compelling argument. It really is.
I like it.
Yeah.
Mate, I think
I like it.
I think that everything that you're asking from a front rower, he has it. And the huge motor. Imagine if you can save an interchange or even two potentially with the fact that Haas and him can. Now, you obviously don't want Haas on there for ages if you don't have to. But if it came down to it, you got two front rowers that can go essentially 80 minutes. Put it this way, we know Yo for sure can go 80 minutes in the middle.
And also, when I was making my team, there's not a lot of front rowers around in New South Wales.
It really isn't. Not ones that are just screaming to be selected.
Well, only Haas is the only guarantee.
100%.
So, yeah, geez.
You've obviously got a plan
thinking.
for your 13 as well, though.
And yeah, so I've got my 13, which I think will actually suit Hines better.
Do you want to go through it? Because we're here now.
Okay, we'll go. So my 13 is McInnes.
Yeah.
Because guess then what it does as well? It opens up the 14 position on the bench for another different person.
Bro, I think, I like the factor of Hines and what we'd all like to see New South Wales produce, knowing that we do want to give the reins. I do really like it.
It solves a lot of problems. Like it solves a lot of for example, McInnes gets to start. We want McInnes playing a lot of minutes. He's got leg speed. He's got great defence. He's fast around the ruck. He can cover that 9 role. Obviously, what we'll do is when we release the sides, we'll release our own sides, and then we'll release the side that we came to.
Yeah.
So they'll be different.
I will say, I do like this, but if McInnes is my 13, I think I'd rather Cody Walker as my 6.
Okay.
Because I think you're losing something. You're losing a bit of attack with Yo, and then Walker's significantly better with the ball in hand than Burton. So I think if I went in that direction, I'd have Walker as my 6.
Well, the way I see it is look what Hines does at club with essentially whoever's outside him, he still does it.
Yeah.
And so I think that you've got enough. Like Hines can it's his show. Like he's got enough skill set. He just needs people around him to go with him to take care of the fact that Burton isn't necessarily the best ball playing 6. And also, Yo's still on the field. Like if you need him, he
True.
jumps in.
True.
That's my concern with, and I know he's played incredibly this year, but the reality is Hines still hasn't really had that knockout game in a big game, and I am building an entire squad around him.
Well, I think we've just got to bite the bullet. Like if we're backing Hines, we back him all the way.
Yeah. Now's the time to deliver.
Because that is the question. Can Hines, when he's put under the pump in an Origin game, deliver? It's better off giving him every resource he can rather than going, I'm not sure if he can, so you know what, I'm going to put people around him.
Yeah.
And then we weaken other spots because we're not fully behind Hines.
Because there was a moment last night when I was writing this team where I had Isaiah at 13, I crossed out and I went, I'm not convinced it's going to work with Hines. I'm not confident of that. But then I just went, I can't leave him out of the side.
Can't leave him out of the side.
I agree with that. And I think we can go for a bit more versatility. If you look at who Queensland are missing up front, we're not trying to match them like bopper for bopper. So I feel like a shift in the right direction, I think that'll work.
Well, when you look at, you're not trying to go, person for person, but let's just assume they go Collins, Cotter, Carrigan.
Yes.
Haas, Yo, McInnes is very simple. Like it is one for one in regards to, obviously you're swapping Carrigan and, but Cotter is similar size to McInnes, obviously a little bit thicker, but he's that small, fast footwork, heaps of pace through the middle.
Yep.
Haas and Carrigan, huge meter, it's huge motor. And then you've got Collins, Yo, that are big boppers, get through a bunch of work, do all the little 1%ers.
I think we're there, brother.
So what do you reckon, boys? Have I got you across the line with Yo at 10?
Yeah.
I still want Gerbo on my side somewhere, and we'll get to that obviously, but you've got me closer to convinced than I thought you would.
Remember, we'll still release your sides that you like. We'll put up
for sure.
Guru's New South Wales side.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sticking by my point before with Walker at 6, but if Yo's starting, Gerbo didn't make my team, so I'm pretty inclined for this one.
Right, so we'll, as I said, we'll release our actual sides, but we'll go with Yo. We'll go the crazy scientist. That was my bombshell where I felt people was like,
that is a bombshell.
Not going to see that coming.
Yeah,
but when
it.
You actually sit down and think about the style of footy he
it
plays,
all makes complete sense.
That's why we're here at the table, boys.
Yeah,
to break it down.
Break it down for him. Break it down. All right. On the edges, I have Martin and Crichton. I just think that Crichton's, if you had asked me a month ago, it would have been Olakau'atu. Crichton's form has just been phenomenal. I think Martin's speed through the middle, his leg speed, his aggression is exactly what you need in Origin. I just think they picked themselves, to be honest.
Yeah, I was Martin Crichton too, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same. I think Angus. I also had Cody Walker at 5'8", so I like that combination of Angus and Walker that have played together before as well.
I'm Crichton and I've got Martin in my team. I've actually gone Olakau'atu starting, and this may seem crazy because it just seems like Olakau'atu can provide more impact, but I actually think Liam Martin offers more off the bench for the Blues, just because he can play
through the middle.
speed through the middle, and Olakau'atu is going to be so destructive on that edge.
The only thing with Olakau'atu that with the speed of that first 20 minutes, I think Martin is the one that can match the speed. So I agree with you that he could come off through the middle. It's kind of like when Murray comes on sometimes through the middle, he just goes. But I think like the game is so fast in that first 20 minutes, you need to balance your side with people that are really good laterally, get through a mountain of work. I don't want Olakau'atu making 20 tackles in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I just
like
want him
that.
coming on fucking purely attack. Like,
And I want to factor in who's going to be on the other side for Queensland as well. And I think the two stalwarts, I like Crichton and Martin, especially against a guy like Fafita, factoring in that first 20 minutes. And Olakau'atu coming on at the right time, it's definitely going to have an impact. So that's why I leant towards that.
put it this way, I think Martin is more suited to make 40 tackles in a game than Olakau'atu is.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's what made my decision, is knowing that
Whether the storm.
who's going to mark Fafita that first 20.
Yep.
Yep.
I want Liam Martin.
Yep.
Fair point there, Matty.
Yep.
Okay. At 13, because I moved Yo to 10, I have McInnes. I think that it's time to get a toiler in at 13 that is super versatile, can play anywhere in the forward pack, but literally can make 70 tackles if you need him to. And he's made for Origin. He's going to set the tone, got fast leg speed, quick play of the balls. If Cam Murray was obviously not injured, he would be my 13. But I think the one thing that the negative with Isaiah Yeo sometimes in Origin is obviously he can ball play a little bit too much, but it's also sometimes you miss Cam Murray's leg speed through the middle. Low to the ground, quick play of the balls. McInnes isn't as good as Cam Murray, but I tell you what, he's as closer to Cam Murray in style of play than Isaiah Yeo is. Thoughts, boys?
I've got Isaiah Yeo, obviously, because I had Joe on the front
Yep.
row, but I'm completely okay with going your direction.
100%.
Yeah,
I think
agreed.
the role that we need filled, considering the moves we've made, we just need someone who's going to get through the work.
Okay, let's get to the 9 then. Because all these positions, I'm going Robson for 9. He's my starting 9. We know he can play 80. He's a big body. His delivery is great. And defensively, he's going to get through a mountain of work and be able to not only make his tackles, but the contact he makes in tackles, he's going to win some of that contact. Whereas some of these other 9s that are more crafty around the ruck, in attack they're going to be great, but are they going to win the contact that we need in defence? I think Robson stands head and shoulders in that regard.
I think Appy is the best hooker in New South Wales, but I think Robson suits this team the most. And as I said, I think I want everything to be built around Hines. I want him a hooker that's not going to overplay his hand, and I think that Appy can do that at times. So yeah, Reece Robson's my 9.
What have you seen?
The two that you mentioned there, Guru, I've got both in my side, but Robson kicking it off in the starting side, that's where I've gone for.
Yeah, I initially had Uppy, but Robson suits this team far more, so I've gone Robson
The
for
thing
sure.
with Appy is he's so crafty. He's actually too crafty
And
for a short period of time.
Taking the whole picture that we've built.
Yeah. So, for example, how he is so high level and so good around the ruck. I just don't know with an Origin camp you got long enough to adjust to that if you're going to play him 60 minutes at 9. Now, maybe if you bring him off the bench and his whole role is similar to what the Panthers used him in that grand final, then that's fair enough. It's like 20 minutes, it's all about Appy.
Yep.
Hines take a step back. But I just think that you don't have enough time to get used to the vibe. I mean, you look at the Tigers at the moment, Appy's having a great season, but they're still trying to get used to how high level he is. He's too crafty to a degree.
Well, McGuinness is your 13, Nico's your 7. What about Blake Brayley? Any consideration for him?
Absolutely, Blake Bradley's consideration. The only difference, what sets Robson apart for me is he's a big number 9. Like he's a thick. He can play 13. He's similar to Cotter to a degree.
Yeah.
And it's just that size that just I love. I just think that size in contact, especially that first 20 minutes, you can win the battle. Like for example, he's got a 93.5% tackle efficiency, which is pretty bloody good when you're talking about in the middle. Brayley also has a great tackle efficiency. We'll just get it up here. He's made less tackles, but he's a little bit more tackle efficient than Robson. Then you go to, so he's at 94%, 90.5, 94.5. But yeah, obviously it's about the fact that he's got a high percentage efficiency, but it's just the contact. Like, so for example, Api Coruscant has 88.5% tackle efficiency, and he's made less tackles than Robson.
And we did see that in Origin last year.
Yep.
Uppy, he was probably on the field a little too long, and
it gets tired. He's a small body.
Yep.
So what you trade off in defence, you get an attack. I'm going Reece Robson at number 9.
I agree.
We all agree there?
yeah, it's brutal because Uppy, I think, is a better player, but
I mean, I've got Uppy in my side. I think there's an impact role there.
Okay.
But,
Yep, true.
All right, let's move to the bench.
Hey guys, just pausing the podcast for 1 second to say we recorded this yesterday, just before the news dropped that Connor Watson is going to be out for 4 weeks with a throat injury. So we discussed this under the impression that Connor Watson would be available. So just please keep that in mind.
At number 14, I've got Connor Watson.
Wow.
I've got Connor Watson. He's been outstanding this last month of footy. He's been, ever since he's come back from injury, he's been outstanding. He covers every position. What have we seen in Origin? Absolute carnage the last few years. Whether it's McInnes filling in at 9 or Watson filling in at 9, like he's now starting the Roosters for 9. He's been a huge reason for the Roosters' late run of incredible form. I think that he covers, basically, there's an argument to be made, he's the best utility in the competition. And if you've got the best utility in the competition that can play 14 in Origin, I think you get him in there. I think that he would suit Origin to a T as well. We know he can play 80 minutes. Even at the Roosters, with how quick they play, he goes from dummy half into lock. Watson's my number 14.
My only argument against that, bro, is have we built a team that actually can move around and fill different positions? Do we need an out-and-out utility on the bench, considering the players that we've got on there that have the ability to shift? The McInnes, the Yo. Do we have enough player options to move around? Even like the likes of Crichton has a bit of movement in him. So that's my only thing. But
It's a great point. Because,
great argument for Watson, though. Like.
Yeah, it's a great point because we've got McInnes at 13 now and Yo in the front row. You could go with that two-hooker punch.
If a 6 or 7 goes down, or even a fullback or an outside back, who covers that?
Yeah, true.
The 6 or 7 goes, like for example, if Burton goes down, Connor Watson just goes boom straight in.
True. I had McInnes, but with the way the team's kind of formulating now, Connor Watson for sure. He's definitely the best utility in the comp.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I've gone for Connor Watson in my side. I thought this, and we sort of said it yesterday. I think this is a pretty obvious one. I understand people going Cam McInnes is for it, and Cam McInnes is in my side, but even when Cam McInnes was playing hooker, I never thought he was a hooker. I couldn't, when the Dragons let go of Reece Robson to keep Cam McInnes, that blew me away years ago. I couldn't believe
Only
that.
to let go of Cam McInnes a couple of years later.
It's crazy. I much prefer Cam McInnes as a middle forward. We'll get to that soon. But Connor Watson, as you said, he can cover every position on the field one way or another. And you're right, Dor, like we have got other guys that are versatile on this side, which I think just adds more value to Connor Watson. Cover anywhere. I'd probably only be using Connor Watson for 20, 25 minutes.
Yep.
The only thing, and just because I'm so destroyed by Queensland over the years, I wish Connor Watson had that kicking game of a Ben Hunt or a Harry Grant. Only thing.
So does he get on, boys, if there's no injuries?
Yeah, for sure. I'd probably give Robson a 10-minute break before half-time and maybe even after half-time and then get him come back on and just fucking...
And, mate, depending on how the game's going, I can see a world where I put both of them on at the same time.
The two games where
you maybe even see what McInnes is doing, how he's gas tank, because he's going to be going hard. Maybe you put him at 13, you leave Reece Robson on, you put Reece at 13, you put Connor in the dummy half role.
If we find with like 10 minutes to go at halftime, we're on the front foot, I'd be happy to have Connor Watson and Robson on the field together.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I'm
like
happy.
a 1-2 punch like the Cheese and Harry Grant would agree.
when Watson played 5'8" this year, those were his most efficient games in terms of work rate.
It was a great game.
Yeah, he killed it.
He was running like 130, 140 metres in the halves. He's great.
I think it's best suited to the team we've selected.
All right, we're going Connor Watson.
I like it.
What's going on, guys? Just quickly, so obviously Connor Watson news came after we recorded the podcast. So what we're going to do is we're going to put Appy in that 14 jersey. We've gone back and forth with certain people. Appy throws out a game plan to a degree, We'd make some tweaks. Now, obviously, Connor Watson would have covered the 6. It just shows you how valuable, in our opinion, Connor Watson was to the squad. But yeah, we're going to put Api Coruscant to come on, maybe for 20 minutes and just cause havoc around the ruck. Reece Robson obviously stays at 9. So the only change we made, Api Coruscant comes in for Connor Watson at 14 due to the injury. But, geez, it made us think of how important Connor Watson is to our makeup of the squad.
Okay, at 15, I've Hudson Young. Mongrel, play edge, play in the middle, game breaker. He's a match winner. I think he deserves another shot. So
He's an Origin player, isn't he? Like, he's just got Origin written all
I
over him.
definitely think he's hard done by to not get another shot.
And he was in my team too. Yep.
He didn't make my team, and I absolutely hated it.
yeah,
I praised him yesterday, saying how much I wanted him in there, but
Well,
once
he-
I actually wrote it down, I just went, "Fuck, what am I going to do?"
he took Jake Trbojevich's spot for me.
Yeah, okay, fair. I went for Cam McInnes in jersey 15 coming off the bench. As I said, I prefer him as a middle forward. But yeah, Hudson was very close to mine.
Yeah, I had Saifidi pre-shift, but yeah, I like it. I think Hudson deserves another shot. I'd like to see him go around.
Yeah, Hudson's definitely in my team. He's, as we said yesterday, he's kind of been the forgotten man, hasn't he? Yeah. Like, people just haven't spoke about him.
Like he does it again on the weekend, match winner.
Yeah.
Like, he just does it. He
It's,
wins
it's
matches.
ridiculous.
Okay, and so the next two positions for me, because we'll do it all at once now,
Yep.
is Olakau'atu and Barnett.
Ooh.
So I had Martin, so same thing, but I had Spencer Leniu as my bench middle.
Interesting. I had Olakau'atu, and then my other spot was between Barnett and Junior Bolo. I
was torn between Barnett and Junior Polo. I just looked at, the tackle efficiency, the meters made, and I just thought Barnett, just pipped him. Now, if you're gonna, it just depends on what we want to go for. If we want someone in that 10 jersey that can come on, not 10 jersey, sorry, to come in a front row that can offload and break a game open, then I think you're actually selecting between Junior Polo and Terrell May because they can both do similar things.
My thought process was, because I'm starting with Haas, Gerbo, Yo, all can play big minutes. That's why I was leaning towards Junior Bolo, just a 20-minute stint.
Yep.
Come on, create second phase. And Olakau'atu, very similar. I see McInnes, Olakau'atu, Junior Bolo on my bench. I don't reckon any of them plays more than 30 minutes if we don't have any injuries.
Yep.
Spencer Leniu, special as bench front row and has been for a few years now.
He just hasn't played enough footy for me.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
And even the footy that he has played since he's been back, I haven't really, he hasn't been bad, but he definitely hasn't set the world alight.
If I was going to pick a benchy from the Chooks, it'd be Terrell May.
Yeah.
Do we consider Colin Matangi?
He's been solid this year. He hasn't reached the heights, I think, that we've seen in previous year. But he's been, I no doubt he'd come in and do a job. And we were just singing his praises yesterday. But the thing I'm reluctant with the Rabbitohs boys is just, it's just a bad time at the Rabbitohs.
Yeah, it's
so
fair.
that headspace, you just can't be, you're not in the same headspace. Like, even the Bulldogs, I know they lost on the weekend, but even the Bulldogs are in this headspace of change and growth, and we're a new team, and look how good everything's going for us at the moment. Whereas with the Rabbitohs, it's quite negative at the moment.
It's a tough energy, yeah.
The energy isn't there. Whereas a lot of these other boys, outside of maybe Robson, you're really coming in with a good vibe, a good energy. Club footy is good. The only other one, everyone. I know the Warriors have had a tough month, but it's still high at the Warriors. It's not doom and gloom just yet.
I think for where we're at, I'm shifting Olakau'atu to the bench, and then it's a tough one between
Paulo and Barnett.
Yeah, that's the hard one.
I'll tell you who's the other one that I would have thrown in that little bundle as well, had he just probably played a few more games, is Tyson Frizzell.
That's a fucking great point.
I reckon he's had a few injuries this year, but whenever he has played, and as you know, I love him coming off the bench in the middle, I think he'd be perfect for Origin. His leg speed is
Do we just
unmatched.
a big bopper, though, on the bench, though?
Yeah, it's tough. I'd love to
I
see
want to carry
Barnett,
at least
but
one big bopper, one fronty, one out-and-out front rower.
I think we have to.
Yeah, because at the moment we're going...
Considering
Young,
what we've
Olakau'atu,
selected, I think we have to.
Because that's the other thing, Olakau'atu looks unreal at the moment. We haven't seen him in the Origin arena. I know what I'm going to get out of Frizzell.
Yeah.
There's no unknown with Tyson.
Yeah.
I know what I'm getting with him. For me, I still think Olakau'atu, he's in my side, but I still think he's a little bit of a punt. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to get in that
I think
arena.
with a lot of these debutants, it's you just don't know.
You just don't know,
Ramian,
yeah,
who knows what Ramian's going to do? You know,
Yeah.
he could go terribly. We don't know. Another guy we've got to talk about, Staggs in that 3 jersey.
Yeah.
He's been solid this year, but I think Ramian's just been a little bit better this year.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They're very similar players, but Ramian's just been
He just
better.
gets through a little bit more work for me. Ramian does. Okay, that last bench spot, we got to make a call here. Barnett or Junior Polo?
I'm going to say Polo.
I'm saying Barnett.
I'm going to go Junior.
Fuck. Oh man, I'm going to go. Far out. It's a tough one.
It is so tough.
What do you want to
junior-
use this jersey?
I'll tell you, I want Barnett, but I think the better decision is Polo.
Well, it just depends. Like if I'm going for a guy to come on offload and create momentum, it's Junior Polo.
Yeah. I just think at the time you're going to put one of these two on the field is going to be right at that time where either Harry Grant or Ben Hunt's come on, and that's always where they just fucking kill our momentum every single year. That's where I just want Junior to come on and just play 20 minutes and just
you know
disrupt
what?
that.
I don't know, like when it comes to like 20 minutes of footy, who can do, like Barnett is a 50, 60 minute kind of player. I'd love to, can you just get up Barnett's minutes per game or maybe 40 to 60? Oh, it's actually some games he's playing like
He's
70.
playing less, but it's hard to tell at Parramatta.
No, so I'm saying Barnett, sometimes he's playing
Barnett,
like
yep.
70 minutes and shit,
Yes.
60 minutes. So he's more of like a,
But a lot of those minutes he's shifting out to edges and stuff at the moment too.
but when what we're looking at is at their best, who can impact the game 20 minutes more?
So these are his minutes going more recent to round one. 76, 80, 76, 57, 55, 64, 73.
And what's
etc.
Junior's minutes been?
I think we need the out and out bopper impact with the team we've selected.
Well, I'm just looking at, okay, both players at their best, who can do more damage in 20 minutes?
In 20
it's
minutes.
Junior.
Junior.
It is.
Whereas if we were looking for a guy that can play 50, 60, we're probably going
100%.
Junior's floating around the 40s and low 50s.
All right, go Junior.
I think as well the advantage that Junior has is that I'm bringing him off the bench. He does that week in, week out.
Yeah.
It's very different coming off the bench than that starting
It's like,
role.
you know what you're here to do, Junior. Let's
So
go.
I lean towards Junior. Now, have we all got Olakau'atu on our bench?
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you use him? When do you put him on? Like, is he...
They've notoriously taken some bullets, the second rows who've come in off the bench for
Yeah.
New South Wales, haven't they? Just every time they get burnt.
Well, I'm looking at Martin and I'm looking at Crichton's tank, and looking at, okay, like how are they going? Has Martin got through a mountain of work and he's a little bit fatigued? I'm probably, if I am bringing him on, it would be maybe 10 minutes before half time, just depending on gas tank. But outside of that, like injury free, I'm just playing it by ear. Yeah. Playing it, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
just seeing.
At some point, a fresh Olakau'atu on potentially a fatigue for feeder, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah.
At some point in the game, I think that'd have its advantages.
But it would, put it this way, I don't think I'd be locking in getting him on the field before the game started, because then like you're not really looking at who's fatiguing. Like if we get to the start of the game and Crichton's barely touched the ball on one edge and Liam Martin's made 30 tackles, you're probably bringing Olakau'atu on there, to shift momentum or whatever. I'll be playing it by ear, to be honest. What I would be, obviously, my front row is the rotation I'd have locked in.
Yeah. I think you know how you're going to use him. It's just when is undecided.
Yeah. Okay, so 18th man, boys. Who's our 18th man? Is it Cody Walker?
I always want someone who can play a lot of positions.
Yeah, I mean, it was our big
Do you
exclusions.
need that, though, with the squad
With the squad we've got is
You
quite.
got Connor Watson, you got Burton, you got
I think that the lightest we're in is a 6 and 7. Like Connor Watson, yes, can play 6, but is he like a New South Wales level 6? Whereas like if a centre goes down, Connor Watson can just go out there and make his tackles. Blokes can move to wing.
That's if you don't move Burton out
yeah,
there.
Burton goes out there. Connor Watson. I'm just looking at. I think that
You got two guys who can play 9 there. You got a heap of 13s. You got edges. If Cody's not in your starting, I think he's your 18th.
Yeah, fair enough.
to Walker, and then I reckon Barnett 19.
Oh, yeah, Barnett.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I like it. I think he's got to be in and around the mix. And I think if we're looking at strategically,
The front rower's going to go down most likely.
yeah.
In the
But also
series.
players being on the fringe and experiencing it, I think it would be a good opportunity to blood Barnett in and around the squad.
Okay, boys. Edwards, Suoliti, Ramian, Critter, Toto, Burton, Hines, Haas, Robson, Yo at 10, Martin 11, Crichton 12, McInnes 13, Happy 14, Hudson Young 15, Hamolo 16, Junior Polo 17, Walker 18, Barnett 19. Are you happy with that squad?
I like what we've done, boys.
I'm having one little regret. Now I'm thinking, is it, even though Olakau'atu is an absolute beast, is it better to have Barnett on the bench? Because as we said, what's his role going to be?
Olakau'atu. Well, he's going to, if he needs to, he's going to come through the middle.
We got Hudson.
Junior Polo can come on through the middle as well.
I think it's worth having the X factor of Olakau'atu there for whenever you decide is the moment you need it.
It's worth the punt.
We'll put it this way.
Game one.
Haas and Yo, very durable players. Very rarely do they come off. Obviously, Haas had that nerve thing that was recovered from miraculously last weekend. But I see what you're saying. If we're not going to have a plan for, Olakau'atu off the bat, do you have? We'll put it this way. Let's look at our, bringing people off. Haas probably comes off around 20-minute mark. Yeah?
Yeah, give or take.
25th minute.
Yeah.
He gets replaced, obviously, by Junior. Yeah?
Yep.
Then you look at Yo. You just see how he's going, but maybe 35th minute, 35 minutes or so. Mm-hmm. Or 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Then you've got the option. Do you bring Olakau'atu Young on, or do you bring Watson on? Just go ham through the middle.
See, me, I'd rather put Barnett on than any of those options. I think we're one genuine front rower short,
So you think we need two front rowers on the bench rather than using Olakau'atu?
especially if Yo's starting. Yeah,
I'm not against
Personally.
I'm not against it.
See, I don't mind using Olakau'atu through the middle. I think he'd fucking fill up.
what do you reckon, Guru?
See, to me, the team that I've picked with Isaiah at 13, my substitutions just make a lot more sense to me. How I'd go about it. Moving him into there complicates it a little bit more. But also, just for me and my side, having Gerbo in there, knowing you can play your big minutes, makes those decisions a lot easier as well.
So so you're working off if you're saying Gerbo can play a lot of minutes, then you're working off the idea also that Yo can play a lot of minutes, so you don't actually sub him off in that first 40.
Yeah, I'd probably, obviously all depending on how the game's going, but I sort of had my Haas, Gerbo, Yo probably playing beyond that first 20 minutes.
I think you got to take off Haas sometime in the first half, though.
Yeah, I'd probably be looking to push Haas to that sort of 30-minute mark.
Yeah, and then bringing on Junior, 10 minutes
bring on Junior
each
there.
side of half time, and then bring on Haas with 30 to go.
Yeah, and then probably out of Gerbo or Yo, whoever needs a spell after that is where I would bring on Cam McInnes.
I'm just looking at game one last year. Haas came off in the 30th minute and Paulo came on.
Yeah, and Haas killed it last series. He was fucking outstanding, which solves our problem that we don't need to carry Barnett on the bench because Haas comes on the 30. Yo can just play until we see. So I have no worry if at some point, when it's a little bit fatigued, 25, 30 minutes in, having Watson, McInnes and Robson on the field and just powering through the middle. And then obviously with Yo,
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be cool to see. It's tough.
And it's all just so game dependent how it's going.
Well, that's
it's
I look. You probably hope that Yo is going to play at least 70 minutes. He plays 80 every week in the middle and never looks gassed.
I kind of like it though. I just don't know if we're going to get the same big body battle that we're used to.
I don't think Origin is that anymore.
Yeah, and I just don't see that happening. So I don't mind.
I actually think you shouldn't carry too many big out and out big boppers on the bench because I think the game's pace is too quick these days.
Yeah.
And I mean, the game pace in general is quicker now. This Origin series could be the quickest we've ever. It should be the quickest.
Ever. And a guy like Hudson Young, he absolutely can go on through the middle. Fuck. So I see what you're saying. I think you can't afford to carry two big boppers
Yeah.
on the bench.
I mean, if we have a look at that game on the weekend that we spoke about, like that Sharks Roosters game, just how fast that was through the air, and how good your McInnes's and your Watsons were.
We'll put it this way: my Queensland bench doesn't have two big boppers. It's basically made up essentially the same.
Yeah. Similar to how you had Fox and Teddy, I would be more than happy to have Tyson Brazil in my squad too.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Would you bring Gerbo in as well?
If he misses the side, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Teddy, Fox, Gerbo, and Frizzell, and Walker, Barnett as well. All right.
The other one too is, even if he's not available for game one, having Mitch Moses in there.
Mitch Moses? Yeah, for sure. I think he should be, so what, you got 22, 23, and 24 Moses. Yeah, for sure. Because you would assume, unless Burton kills it, Moses will be in game 2. Unless Burton kills it.
Yep. Yep.
For New South Wales, do we consider bringing in Katoa for New South Wales?
100%.
As in the squad?
In the squad. Yeah, potentially.
So 25. So we'll do a 25-man squad, and Katoa is brought in. I think absolutely you bring him in. Absolutely you bring him in.
Gun.
Because that 6 jersey is not locked in. Nathan Cleary has the 7 jersey for the next whatever years. That 6 jersey, we know Katoa can play that. Obviously, Hines
Expose
is there. Get him in.
I like it.
Get him in
I love it. Yeah.
I might sound a little bit crazy, but I could actually see a world in the future where you maybe even play Qatar at 7, Cleary at 6.
Cleary at 6, yeah, potentially. Honestly, I could see a world where you make the shot call of going Hines Katoa at some point in this series. Like,
He's just a gun.
It's not out of the question.
I'm not again. We're talking smoky chat here, guys. We're not like tomorrow is going to happen. I don't think he. I think he'd handle it. I think he'd handle it. Is he a better option than like your Burden at this stage? Like no. But mate, we're talking about the Dolphins who are currently sitting 5th, and he's their 7, and he's 20 years old.
He's taking a piss.
So I think that's why we need to bring him into camp.
Yeah,
and
bring him into
get
camp.
Him around the boys.
Expose him.
Also, stop bloody Queensland from somehow saying that he's a Queenslander as well.
He's a blue. Don't
Give me a break, mate. Give me a break. Okay, so we're 25 man each squad. For Queensland, so for New South Wales, the extra players are Teddy, Fox, Gerbo, Frizzell, Moses, Katoa. Now, do we need to rethink the New South Wales side of things and bring in a guy like Brayley? You know what? We take out Moses and we bring in Brayley because let's assume Moses is injured.
I'm still taking Moses in with me, to be honest with you.
Okay, who else do we get rid of then? Teddy, Fox, Gerbo, Frizzell, Moses.
Take a 26, make an extra tracksuit.
26, Brayley. Okay, boys. Edwards, Suoliti, Ramian, Critter, Toto, Burton, Hines, Haas, Robson, Yo at 10, Martin 11, Crichton 12, McInnes 13, Appy 14, Hudson Young 15, Hamole 16, Junior Paulo 17. And the extended bench for New South Wales is Walker, Barnett, Teddy, Fox, Gerbo, Frizzell, Moses, Katoa, Brayley. Alrighty, that is our New South Wales side selected. Obviously, it's a vote, but then we'll also release our own. We'll put our names above it, what we were going to go with. But yeah, that's New South Wales at the selection table done and dusted. Hope you enjoyed it. We're going to get into Queensland now, and I like people to, if you know, obviously it's a fun game, but sit down and try and select for yourself and think of a game plan, and you have a new appreciation for how hard it is for New South Wales selectors and Queensland selectors, and then add on to the fact that imagine the people you're not selecting or selecting. Imagine they're your friends or your mates, and having to tell that person, sorry, mate, you haven't made it this year.
And on top of that, not only write down your side, just think about how you would make it work with your interchanges and whatnot.
Yeah,
let's say perfect situation. It all goes to plan how you're going to do it. It won't, but just if it does, how you're actually going to do it.
And like we just had with the Barnett question, because it's a great question. You could be looking at that during the game and going, holy shit, we should have gone with Barnett. We needed a bigger bopper. For some reason, the game's slower. He's allowing people to line the ruck, and we should have had big boys in there. Yep. Or you could be looking, we had all this pressure on their goal line, and we didn't have a 6 that can, have 4 try assists in a game. So, yeah, it's a really tough one. Anyway, let's get into our Queensland side selected. And don't forget, guys, winter drop, Monday, 6 p.m, the bloke hoodie, these bloke shirts I got on. Shandor's got a hoodie on. Matty's got on the shirt. And also got shorts here as well. So here are the bloke shorts. We haven't released these shorts in years and years, but here are the bloke shorts. They are comfortable as anything. You can wear them at home. You can wear them at the gym, wherever. That is Monday, 6 p.m. You don't want to miss it, guys. Limited amount. All right, let's get into it. Fullback for Queensland. Eligible. Only Reece Walsh and the Hammer. I think this selects itself. Reece Walsh at fullback for the Mighty Maroons. What do you think, boys?
1,000%.
Yeah, 100%. I think even a couple of months ago when KP was in the mix, I think Reece Walsh, the incumbent, did a great job last year. He's the man.
He's the man to do it.
He's just the most exciting player in the comp right now. He killed it last year. Reece Walsh.
Reece Walsh, all righty. On the wings, very tough. So eligible, we have Coates, Corey Oates, Selwyn Cobbo, Talangi, Xavier Savage, Philip Summy, Cam Pereira, Kyle Felt. Now, I think Coates has to be there with his form.
It's in great form.
Like, he's almost a lock decision. Not as locked as To'o's, because To'o's been there, done it or whatever, but Xavier Coates' form is a scary prospect. Now, he may not offer the same as To'o and Suoli coming out of his own end, although he does do that. He can do it. But when it comes to attacking danger, he's probably the most dangerous winger in the competition right now.
I think looking over my Queensland side, he has been in the best and most consistent form as well.
You could argue, is, as you said, like forming in the comp.
Yep.
He's won Storm 3 games with last minute plays by himself. He just on the weekend he made like 200 and something meters and he went off for 10 minutes with HIA. He's an absolute gun and he walks into this team for me.
Far and away the best finisher. But I think the value add this time around, getting another crack at Origin, is his defence now.
Yeah, much better. Much better. Yep.
Him bringing that to the table. And yeah, like I said, he is the best finisher in the comp, but bringing that to the table is the edge.
And I also feel like he's coming out of trouble runs. They are night and day compared to what they were a couple of years ago. Like, he's running.
That would have been
venom.
so drummed into him, bro.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So we're going to go with Coates on one edge. Now, it's between, well, I think it's between on the other edge, Talangi and Cobbo.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Talangi, in my opinion, has arguably been the most underrated part of the Queensland squad for the last 2 years. But his club form in the Cowboys hasn't been great. Cobbo, on the other hand, although he does have errors in him, he is an absolute X factor, arguably on the same level as Reece Walsh. When you talk about historic moments or game-changing moments or even series-winning moments, Selwyn Cobbo has the potential to do that. He may not have the lower amount of errors that Talangi does, but he has the X factor. What are we thinking, boys?
Mate, I've gone with Selwyn Cobbo simply from the thought process out of those two. If I was a New South Welshman, who would I rather not play? And it's just Selwyn, because I just can't prepare for him. He can just do things that other people can't. But mate, Murray Talangi, to his credit, he's got a bit of gagai about him. He just gets to Origin every year and he just kills it.
He kills it.
And I agree with you, mate. I think his form in NRL land hasn't been as good as what it has in previous years, but I know that if he got picked, he would go in and do a fantastic job. But for me, I'm going with Selwyn Cobbo just because he's got that X factor to him.
Yeah, I agree. When you weigh up those two options, Talangi can do a job, but what could Cobbo add? I'm going to take the punt on Cobbo, so I think that's the way to go.
I'm going against all ya. I'm going to Talangi. I think what he did last year should count for something. Some of those defensive plays, especially in that second game, were outrageous. He's never let that Queensland jersey down. I'm going to Talangi.
Well, how much of a factor is the Cowboys' form against him? Like if we were to compare those two, how he's playing the Cowboys as a whole, can we discredit some of that form, knowing that he could come? Yes, knowing that he could come in and do his thing in Origin.
Do you also take into account Selwyn's not playing on the wing at the moment?
I took that into account as well. Yeah.
And there is a chance that Selwyn has 3 errors.
Yep.
Like, he could do that.
Yeah.
I had Cobbo, and I'm probably going to stick to my guns with Cobbo, trusting the fact that our head coach, Billy Slater, our head coach, currently not at the table selecting the team, which is very strange. I just think he'll be able to tell Cobbo, mate, don't worry about that. And also, Cobbo's played well in Origin. We have to remember, before he got knocked out in that game, in his debut, he had an incredible game. Like, one of his first ever touches was like a magic moment.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
I'm going to go Cobbo by a whisker, but Talangi is there or thereabouts.
Can I ask you a question? So, obviously the Cowboys are playing pretty bad. Talangi's form is all right. Val's form is bad. Val has done a lot more in Origin and is pretty much a Queensland legend. Cobbo can play centre. He plays centre for the Bronx. Cobbo can play wing. Who are you more likely to drop out of those two?
Well, Holmes has done so much in that Queensland jersey. I trust that he'll get to Origin. And a lot of Holmes' errors are around lack of concentration. It's just like switching out off in games. I don't think he's going to do that in the Origin arena. I think he's going to clean that up because he does other, like some games where he's got 3 errors. When you actually watch the game, everything else a part of his game has been outstanding, like crazy ball running, very aggressive, heaps of meterage, heaps of post contact. And so for that reason, and he's done it so many times, that's why I would select him at centre. So we're going to go with Cobbo on the wing though before we...
Yeah, I actually think if Slater was here, he might opt for Tuolangi, but I think Cobbo's the way to go.
Did you look into it at all that, Cobbo has played a lot of right wing before? I assume if we're picking Coates, he's going to play left wing. So if you are going to pick a right winger, you're going to move Murray Tuolangi over to the right, or do you pick Cobbo where he has played? A lot of, I know he's playing left centre at the moment, but he's played a lot of right wing at a high click.
Yeah,
it's a good point. And Slater probably gives him a very simplified role, although he does have the X factor and he's a good finisher. I think he brings it back to basics, instills a lot of confidence.
I think also, we had a lot of questions around his defence this year at centre, and he's actually been pretty bloody good in defence at centre.
Yeah.
So I think that my concern would be because he hasn't played wing much this year, will his timing be a little bit off? But I've got confidence he's such a high-level footy player, he'll be able to just ease into it in the camp and that.
I think as well, when you've seen Reece Walsh over the last 18 months play some of his best footy, when he's going down that right edge, the amount of times he hits Selwyn Cobbo on that right wing, just that little combo there, I think it has to be Cobbo.
I think also like New South Wales, when you're sitting there going, we've got to defend Walsh,
yes,
Coates, Cobbo coming out of your own end. Anything can happen. Like it could be they could all run for 200 metres, or they might score 3 long-range tries each, like as in one each. Like that's how dangerous they are. Whereas Talangi, I don't know if he has the lot. Like he obviously has high skill rate, one of the really incredible offloaders, incredible finisher. But does he have that high tick speed that this Selwyn Cobbo's, your Reece Walsh and Coates has? I don't know. I'm going to go Cobbo, even though it's if we got them both into camp and Talangi looked more switch on, I'd go to Talangi. But that's how close it is.
They honestly are two guys that, depending on which one you picked, I could see us walking away from Origin camp going, that winger was a top 5 player this series.
Oh, for sure.
They both got that potential.
Well, Talangi, those defensive plays he made last year, won the series.
It's Dane Gagai all over again.
He literally won the series.
Which is why I understand Matty's argument for picking him 100%.
Agreed. I would almost go Cobbo on the wing, but bring Talangi into camp. And I wouldn't name my side. I'd name the squad, and I would look how they both react in camp. Is Cobbo concentrating? Is he fully all there, or is he a bit distracted? And then I would almost, that first week or whatever, I'd look at it and go, who looks like they want it more, and that's how I'd make my decision. But for now, I will name Cobbo. In the centres, Selwyn Cobbo, obviously, on the wing, but Hammer, Gagai, Holmes, Tessie New, Tass. I'm going to go Holmes and Hammer, but I tell you what, I don't think Gagai is that far off being pulled back into the Origin side. I think he's been outstanding at club level. Yeah,
he's been awesome this year, Gagai. I'm going Holmes and Hammer as well. It's so tempting for me to put Cobbo in there. Like it really is. I love him as a centre. He's just playing so well this year, and he's so dangerous. But I think just based off last year and what Hammer and Fowl bring, just keep them there.
Yeah, I think Billy's made his decision on Dane Gagai, despite I think over the last 18 months he's played his best footy I've ever seen, full stop, outside of Origin. But I think Hammer has to be there, and Val Holmes. I know his form hasn't been great, but I just think he's done enough in that Queensland jersey to be there again.
He also needs to kick their goals. There's no one else really who can kick goals.
That's a great point.
True.
Great point. All right, so we're going Holmes, Hammer?
Yep, that's who I had. But I've got a feeling there's going to be a fairy tale Gagai return somewhere in there.
Ooh. All right. Maybe an injury or something.
Yeah.
Gags gets called back in.
Origin Gags comes in and wins it.
Stop
God,
it.
Just the one game though.
At number 6 that are eligible, Munster is out. We've got Dearden, Mam, Atkinson, Gamble. Obviously, we go DC.
Sorry, I forgot. Could put Ben Hunt in there as well, I guess.
Benny Hunt, yeah. Now, it could be Dearden, it could be Mam, it could be Hunt. Who are we going at 6 for Queensland? Me personally, I'm going Dearden. I still think Mam is a year or two away. I think we've got enough X factor at the moment in our backline to put on points. And I think Dearden, in the one game that he did play, he's been outstanding. He's also been around the camp for a few years now. And I think he just suits what we need in that 6 jersey right now.
Yeah, Dearden for me, for sure. I think this is a pretty obvious one. I agree with him. I think Ezra Mam over the next few years will be very interesting when there are injuries, but Tommy Dearden, mate, the game that he came in and played, it's one of the best Origin debuts I've seen.
Cracker.
All things considered.
It was a decider as well.
It was a decider replacing Cam Munster in Origin. I think he's an absolute shit in Dearden.
Also, we have to remember, one of his first plays in Origin was a short ball to Val Holmes to score a try. So that connection, it matters.
Yeah,
If
I
for
agree.
nothing else, he plays left side as well. DCE plays right. It's just perfect.
He just makes the most sense. I know there's been the whispers and strong chats, and even here in Slater being interviewed about Man today, our coach that couldn't make it. But I think Dearden's just Origin for me. I just love the way he plays the game.
Yeah.
He's going to play a lot of Origins.
Yeah.
Tommy Dearden. And his defence is just... Well, when he got picked a few years ago, he got picked because of his defence.
Yeah.
So, how's that?
I loved
little
it on the
mongrel.
weekend, that try that he scored where his team was just in all sorts, and he just went down the short side and went, just give me the ball, I'll score.
Well, he's done that before this year as well in other games where he's ran like a front rower to score a try to get him back in the game. And I do think that, looking towards the future as a team, guys, he probably is the next 14 when Ben Hunt retires. And it'll be Harry Grant and him most likely rotating in that role.
Agree with that.
Get as many games under his belt. Okay, now let's get to the front row. DC obviously 7 front row. I've gone Collins and Cotter. I just think Collins, he's the big boy. We know he does all the 1% plays, but he's the big bopper that we need to just bend the line. Basically just the size to work in contact. And then we get Cotter on there for the leg drive, the leg speed. He can jump in at dummy half if he has to at times. He can help Paddy and him can swap between front row and 13 at times. I just think those two make a great 1-2 punch in the middle. Yes, Cotter is a little bit smaller, but we've seen time and time again that does not matter for him. It genuinely doesn't matter. What do you reckon?
They both performed for Origin, like for Queensland in the past. That's my front row as well. No brainer for me.
Yeah, I tinker with the idea of starting Jai Arrow there, just for a slightly bigger size, but Hopgood or Arrow, I have one starting, one on the bench. Doesn't mind me. Sorry, Arrow or Reuben Cotter.
Okay, so we're going Collins Cotter?
Yeah.
Collins Cotter.
Okay, at 9. We used to start with Benny Hunt. I think Harry Grant has progressed enough in his career to start him at 9 and bring Hunt off the bench.
Yeah, there seems to be this narrative around that the way to go is Hunt Harry, and to your point, everyone has discussed his experience, but I don't know. I just think they're going to
Go Hunt,
Yeah.
Grant.
Yeah, I think there's just a method to the madness, a theory that works.
Yep.
It seems strange because of what we see Harry do every week at club level, but yeah, I think it might be maintained. But you'd be happy either way.
What are you doing?
I'm starting with Harry Grant. I'm bringing Ben Hunt off the bench. I think that when you think about these Jersey 14s, you always think, well, the natural way to think is the leg speed comes on and they blow it through the middle. Mate, I just think the difference, one of the major differences between Queensland and New South Wales over the last few years has been when Ben Hunt comes on, he's just so smart. He just picks the right play every single time. He kicks on the right tackle. He kicks to the right spots. If I was a New South Welshman, I would fear Ben Hunt coming on when everyone's a little bit tired and he gets on in that.
And if we look at that New South Wales selection, we've got to have that 20-minute mentality, that initial. So Harry is the better option for that.
I also think Benny Hunt's a year older as well. And so do we want him as a bit older in the middle for that first 20?
No.
Initially we did when Grant was coming through and developing his game. But we're talking about Harry Grant, the captain of the Storm.
Yeah.
He's developed far past what he was 3 or 4 years ago.
100%.
So I just think he's developed more into, he gets that starting role now, and and Hunt comes on and picks teams apart with his craftiness and his kicking game as well.
I think as well, when I look at the New South Wales side, what I assume their bench will look like, you are going to have a lot of guys coming off that bench that haven't played Origin before.
Yeah.
When they go on that field, I want a fresh Ben Hunt.
I think it's almost weird now if Harry's not starting.
Yeah, 'cause he's
At
just
this
come
point,
so far.
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
He's just come so far.
Yeah, I'm starting with Grant as well.
with Grant.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, now to the back row, which I'm assuming will be our biggest differences.
Yeah.
I think Fafita has locked himself in a spot. I find it shocking that people think Fafita hasn't played incredible football for at least 2 years now. Bizarre to me. Like the fact that the yarn still rolls around that Fafita is inconsistent at clubland blows my mind. Like when they were talking about like the contract negotiations and I see people in the media talking about it, I'm like, are we watching the same Fafita?
Yeah, seriously.
He's been consistent. He won Dally M back rower last year. And he's been the Titans' probably best player this year outside of maybe Brimo.
I tell you what really annoyed me when the whole Angus Crichton Fafita thing was going on. Everyone's like, "Oh, the Roosters don't need Fafita; they need someone who's like got better defense like Crichton with safer." Fafita's tackle efficiency is better than Crichton's.
Yeah,
People don't realise how good Fafita is in defence.
They genuinely don't. Like people still think Fafita is the guy that you bring on to score a try from a scoot or something. He has completely rounded his game out. Like he does. He has some of the most runs in his team, misses some of the least tackles, and does some of the smartest footy on his team.
I think, like with all due respect to the Titans, I just think not enough people actually watch them play.
Yeah, they're
I
tiny.
think
They're a
enough
tiny
people watch
side.
them play every week.
But I think that for people in the media, that's your job.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
for sure,
fact
yeah.
that people in the media are still running with this, he's a super inconsistent player.
And
is
been painted with
mind-blowing.
this stereotype that he just, in spurts, he has this impact.
He's literally the best player on the field, if not the second best player for 2 years in a row. He won Dally M back rower. Think about how many good back rowers there were last year.
Yeah.
He won Dally M back rower. So Fafita for mine. Now this is going to be maybe not controversial. Kafusi on my other edge. I just think defensively, we've got Fafita, the powerhouse on one side. I think the other options like Nanai or even Sua, Nanai especially defensively has not been great this year. Sua has been solid defensively, but I don't think he's on Kafusi's level. And so I just think Kafusi gets that spot back, and I think he rips and tears and does what he does best, which is defend his ass off.
I've got those two names down. My only worry with Kafusi is that he hasn't played those big minutes at the Dolphins for quite some. Like he's been playing as a front row forward, realistically up there. That's my one concern. But mate, I can only say this about Queenslanders. I just know Nanai's going to go in there and do a job. I'm just, because we've got the coach that we do in Billy Slater, I'm confident that Nanai will go in there and do a job, and I think he'll end up being the guy there.
Yeah, I've opted for Nanai, just knowing what he can bring to the game. But, I love bringing back the old head in Kafusi. What's he known for? Just putting on pressure on a half. And, I'd love to see him unleashed on a Burton and just say, hey, this is do your job. But...
Like imagine the pressure Kafusi's going to put on new halves pairing. Nanai's not going to do that.
Guru raises a good point. I don't know if the Kafusi of the Storm, that athletic player, is the same. Putting him in that position. But, yeah, I opted for Nanai.
Well, I think like when you think about what's going to be our game plan, it's going to make Hines feel the pressure. Who makes Hines feel the pressure more, Nanai or Kafusi?
Yeah.
Hines or Burton, whoever aside.
Yeah.
It's going to be Kafusi every day of the week.
I don't hate the Kafusi shout. I've gone Sua. I think he's one of the form back rows of the comp. He's one of the Dragons' best players this year.
Yeah.
And I think he's definitely outplaying Nanai. Nanai's on my bench, but I think Sua has been severely underrated this year.
Sua's on my bench.
Okay.
My big concern with Felice Kafusi, he hasn't played over 45 minutes since round 4 in the NRL. Big ask when you're marking
Yeah, it's
Gus
fair.
that's not to say he'll play 80 minutes, obviously, but I think they'll get the best out of
Nanai?
Nanai.
Okay. It's a majority decision. It is a Nanai. That's going to change my bench because I don't think you carry Kafusi on the bench.
No.
Okay. Fafita and Nanai.
You only tore up the whole New South Wales bench, so it's only fair.
Okay. At 13, locked in Carrigan. It's not even
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
locked in Carrigan. Okay. At 14, obviously Ben Hunt. Now the bench. We'll do the whole bench together because that's how you kind of set it up. I've gone Jensen. I had Nanai, but not anymore. Jensen, someone, Hopgood.
I had Nanai.
If Arrow is sweet, as in he's got no niggles,
Yep.
he can get through the 80, I'll
Yep.
put Arrow on the bench.
Yeah. So I had Nanai, Arrow, Hopgood. I guess if Nanai starting, I'd have Sewer down there.
I just think that your bench, you need a big bopper.
I've gone for Hopgood, Jensen, Arrow, Benny Hunt.
Hopgood, Jensen, Arrow, Benny Hunt. Yeah, that's what I've got. Yeah.
Yeah, I discredited Arrow just with the injury cloud. So
Yeah,
I went.
I initially did too.
Yeah, I went Sewer, Hopgood, and Fodawaker.
Fodawaker was super, super close.
See, I have Arrow. I consider him a straight up front rower.
Really?
Yeah. I hate that he doesn't play in the front row for
Yeah.
South.
I just don't know if he's big enough for Origin. Like, as in, he's a good. If you've got other people that are big boppers with him, but I reckon when you take Lindsay Collins off, I reckon because then put it this way: if you put an Arrow on, you're basically your front row is Arrow Cotter. That's a small front row. Whereas I think Jensen, for me,
Yeah.
he's a big bopper. We see he gets through. He's a premiership. Obviously got to a grand final last year. Argument for Fodawaker. Been there, done it. Huge bopper.
Yeah.
Played relatively well in Origin.
In form.
He's
Going
in
okay.
form.
What do you
Yeah.
reckon?
Fodawaker, I wrote his name down and took him out like he was close.
Yeah, I had him initially and I took him out.
Yeah, I had him close. I don't think he's played his greatest footy this year. To be honest with you.
His first month of footy was not good.
Yeah.
His last few weeks has been quite good in my opinion.
Yeah, well, as I said, I've got Hopgood, Jensen, Arrow. The other one that I thought, and it would only be a 25-minute role, I think Josh Kerr's been playing good footy as well.
Yep, he absolutely
Because they
has.
you're very short on front row forwards.
Yep.
There's not a stack to choose from there. Did anyone consider...
Welsh?
Yeah,
Walsh,
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I considered it, yeah.
I think that he's definitely in the
Yeah,
conversation.
100%. I like what he adds.
Bit of an offload off the bench too.
Yep.
Oh, I'm happy with my bench of Hopgood, Jensen, Arrow at the moment, though.
So Hunt, Jensen, Arrow, Hopgood. What's your bench?
It was Hunt, Nanai, Arrow, Hopgood. But you are right about a big bopper.
Yeah, I just think that if you bring an Arrow on with Cotter, like that's a pretty small front row.
I'd probably have, maybe it's my Rabbitohs bias, I'd definitely have Arrow. Then I'd probably replace
Well, I
Hopgood.
like Arrow as long as he's sweet. If
Yeah.
we call Arrow and he goes, I can't train all week and the shoulder's not the best. Like you can't afford a bloke to be on your bench in Origin to come on and get injured and then he's no longer available.
No. If he's sweet, he's in.
Yeah. If he's like, no, I'm sweet. I'm getting through 80 minutes. I'm getting through most of my training. There's no issue, no concern.
Yep.
Then I'm putting him on the bench.
What about... I know he probably hasn't played enough footy, but if you do need another big bopper, if he was to return this week and play, Corey Horsburgh, you only need him for a 20, 25 minute?
Nah, I think just too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon. I'd see more out of him.
For Welsh.
For what it's worth, if I had to pick Fodawaker or Jensen, I'd pick Jensen.
Okay. So Jensen's got a lock spot on the bench, you reckon?
I think so.
Yeah.
Especially after his performance last week. Like he was phenomenal.
Yep.
So the next two is Arrow. Is Hopgood under any pressure to get his debut?
I don't think he's locked in, personally.
I think with the injuries that they've got, certain guys, I think he is locked in now.
Okay. So it's just essentially the question mark is really around Arrow and if he's injury free or not. Let's say he is injured and he is struggling to get through training. Who do we go then?
Yeah, Kerr, Fodawaker, Christian Welsh.
What about like the Molo brothers, like one of them? Like they've been pretty decent at the. They've also, I think, was Francis brought in like last year maybe or the year before?
Yeah, I think the year before.
Francis was 2021.
Okay. All right. Let's make a call here. We're just going to assume Arrow is sweet. If Arrow is not sweet, are we going Fodawaker or Christian Welsh?
I'd probably lean towards Welsh.
Yeah, me too. I think Welsh.
I think the team needs it, yeah.
Okay, so maybe we go 18th man, Ezra man,
Yep.
Yep.
or Sam Walker.
Man.
Man.
Ezra man. And then we go 19th man, Welsh or Sewer.
Ugh. So who's our bench?
Our bench is Hunt, Jensen, Arrow, Hopgood.
I'd go Welsh for that spot.
The experience?
Yeah.
And then what, you also carry Murray Tuolangi?
Yeah, so 20 would be Tuolangi, and then 21 would probably be, who else we're talking about? Holmes would probably be Fodawaker.
Yeah.
And then if we were going to Welsh at 19, Sewer, 22.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then I honestly just might bring in 23. I might just bring in Sam Walker just to get him around the joint more, even though he's been around it. But I think he's been playing bloody good footy.
Yeah, he'll play for Queensland one day.
Eventually,
100%.
Did you bring Gags in?
Well, he didn't go in last year. You know what? I do bring Gags in. Well, actually, when we talk about our centres, yeah, I bring Gags in.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you got to bring Gags in at 24. And also that experience and that. He is a locker room guy too, Gags.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
Tell you who else I'd bring in there for experience for your future, and I'm probably higher on him than most, but I reckon that Maxi Plath.
Max Psychoplath.
Yeah.
Yep, mate, wouldn't go against it. Do we bring in a guy like Philip Sammy, who could actually be quite useful throughout the series?
He's a good player, man. He's underrated.
He's so underrated.
He's so underrated. And we look at like the centre position, like let's say, Cobbo moves into centre.
I still think if I needed a centre or winger, though, I would call Gags
Call
first.
Gags for sure,
Yeah.
but it's more experience and just getting him a part of the system. Who's our 25th that comes into camp for Queensland? Let's have a look at this.
Did you have Jaden Sewer in there?
Yeah, got Sewer in there. Back row. Just have a look at this back row.
I'm bringing in Plath.
Psychoplath, yeah, youngster.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, the Psychoplath.
The Psychoplath.
And then we're going to need 26 for Queensland. We've got Psychoplath. Do we look at guy like Bofa Murph, Fini Fuaki, Brendan Piacora? Bring in Piacora
Yeah, Picora.
into camp for Queensland?
Yeah, it works.
Is it almost similar like to Plath, like the next generation to a degree?
Yep.
Yep.
Happy with that.
We all happy with Piacora, the 26 player?
Lovely.
Alrighty, so our Queensland squad is Walsh, Cobbo, Holmes, Hammer, Coates, Dearden, DCE, Collins, Grant, Cotter, Fafita, Nanai, Carrigan. On the bench, Hunt, Jensen, Arrow, Hopgood, 18th man, Mam, 19th man, Welsh. And then, we've just read out our extended bench as well. So our extended squad, Tuolangi, Fodawaker, Sewer, Walker, Gagai, Max Psychoplath, Piacora. There you have it. The selection table, it is done and dusted. First time ever we've selected our side, guys. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Are we crazy? Should we be selectors? Should they give us a call? Or should they say you should never be near another selection table? Make sure Monday, 6 p.m, guys, grab the Bloke Winter Drop. We've got the all-new shorts that we haven't dropped in ages. Trust me, they're so comfortable. Beautiful hoodies. These hoodies, usually like the design and the quality of material, we're talking like $150. These are high quality, like our new shirts. And also the shirts we've got as well, similar to the Could Be Anything. They're not exactly the same material, but they are the same quality. Unbelievable quality and cut. Trust me, it's way better than our old stuff. So it's Monday, 6 p.m. Be there. Make sure to give Sandor a follow. What's going on with Sandor with the air locker, mate? How's that all gone for you?
Very good, mate. We got our upcoming transformation journey coming up. So if you're around a studio and Air Locker is local and you haven't yet experienced altitude training, get yourself in. Early bird offer is a cracker deal. So great way to get some results in winter when the motivation is low.
Yep.
So get in there and find your local studio.
Might need to come in myself and the great Roo. What do you got coming up, mate?
Same old, mate. Just looking forward to Origin. Surviving
Okay.
Magic Round.
All right, surviving Magic Round. All right, that is us done and dusted. The selection table has been sat at. We have made tough calls.
Yo for 10.
Hey?
Yo for 10.
The bombshell was dropped. As usual, we'll go and fuck ourselves.